What's up, everybody? Real quick, before we jump into this episode, I have a message for every single person out there who is currently feeling lost, feeling like they don't have purpose, feeling like they lack direction. And as a result of feeling those things, you're frustrated, you're unfulfilled. You might feel like you've been wasting a lot of time, a lot of energy. You might feel some guilt. If that is you, then listen up, because I have something that's going to absolutely transform your life, and that is the Having It All Blueprint. I poured so much into this course because I was that person. I was in the shoes you are in right now. I felt like I had absolutely no purpose. I was so lost. I didn't even know what I was doing here. And I was frustrated looking back at all the money I spent at school and all the time I spent in all these different jobs, only to now be feeling like it was all for nothing. And so I went on a journey. I truly, truly dug into myself. And years later, after picking up all these different tools, reshaping my beliefs, I can stand here today knowing so crystal clear what my purpose is. And not only knowing it, but being completely fired up and inspired by it. And I want the same thing for you. And so I poured everything that I've learned into the Having It All Blueprint. If you purchase this course and you don't dig it and you don't experience transformation in your life, reach out to me. Full refund. Absolutely no risk in investing in yourself with this incredibly powerful tool. And I've used everything in the blueprint to transform not only my own life, but the lives of my clients as well. So it is proven. So if you're ready, if you feel like you've waited way too long to be experiencing a life that is fulfilling and exciting, where you're just turned on, can't wait to jump into all the things that you've got going on. If you don't want to wait anymore, jump over to MatthewBivens.com/blueprint and enroll in the Having It All Blueprint today. Once again, that's MatthewBivens.com/blueprint and join us. You too can have an abundant, loving life. I know it. I feel it. I'm excited for you, and I'm out. Peace. Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Having It All podcast. I'm so happy you're here with me today to talk about having it all. Living and experiencing an abundant, loving life. That is what we get into here on this show every single week. And it's what gets me so fueled, so pumped up, so excited to have conversations like this, to talk about this in real life with folks. I'm just all about having it all. I truly am, because I truly believe that each and every one of us on this planet Earth can have it all. There is enough abundance and love out there for all of us. And once we align with that belief that we all can have it all, it is truly tremendous what opens up in our lives. So I'm super grateful that you're here with me today to join in this conversation. And I have a real quick request. It would be super awesome if on whatever device you're listening to your show on, whatever podcast app, if you could subscribe right now. Just open it up and hit that little subscribe button. That would be such an awesome thing, and it would just help this show to get out to more people so that they can get in on this conversation about having it all. And today's conversation is awesome. It is super cool. We're talking about your fullest expression. We're talking about what it really means for you to be authentically you and why it is so important. Because in the space of developing yourself or growing yourself or whatever you want to call it, personal development, self-help, whatever you want to call it, one of the phrases or the terms that get tossed around is living authentically, right? Fullest expression of you, being, vibrant, living a life where you're just on fire and passionate. And we can get down with talking about that, but what does it actually mean? And why? Why is that something that is so important? And I'm going to talk to you about why it's so important today. And so that's going to be a really cool conversation. I've got a book that I've been reading that I'm going to read a bunch of quotes from because it really has summed it up so beautifully. And so I'm excited to dig into that with you. Let's kick things off with some magic. I always like to start the show by talking about magic, because when you align with abundance and love, when you align with those things in your life, when you adopt that belief that we all can have it all, one of the results, one of the consequences is that you create many more magical moments in your life. And magical moments, those are those moments when you influence yourself, other people, or life itself in an empowering way. It's the byproduct of adopting a having it all mentality. The magical moments are a byproduct of that. So it's so important that we always recognize them, because we don't want to miss the fact that, you know what, abundance and love is around us all the time. It's ours for us to take and to align with. And so when we recognize magic, we're just recognizing how powerful we are, how abundant we are, how much love there is to give and receive. So after I'm done sharing my magic, I want you to pause the episode and think of one example of magic from your life, something that you have created or inspired in the last day. So my magic has to do with this past weekend. Sarah was out of town. She was off in Tennessee doing her thing with some of her friends, and that meant Maya and I had the whole weekend to just be with each other. And I always look forward to that solo time with Maya, that one-on-one time. I really do cherish it. And so from Friday to Sunday, we were just hanging, kicking, doing our thing. And that was magical in and of itself, just having that time with her and just being able to experience her, all throughout the day for 3 days. It was beautiful. But the magical part of the weekend that I really wanted to share, it had to do with me putting out an intention for something that I wanted to happen and watching as the universe delivered it. And so I was inspired on Friday to say, I am really feeling like going out to dinner with Maya this weekend. And I've used up most of our food money budget, so I don't have the money right now in the budget to go and buy another meal out, because we already spent it on other things. But I would still love to have a meal out. So I'm putting it out there that somebody is going to joyfully and just out of the love of their heart pay for our meal. So I put that out in the universe on Friday, and it was answered in such a beautiful way. My mother, on Saturday, she reached out that she wanted to get together. She invited us up to a pool around her neighborhood, and then afterwards treated us to dinner. And it was such an awesome thing. Food is one of my love languages. It is a major deposit into my tank whenever somebody gifts me with food. But the fact that I had put that intention out on Friday, and less than 24 hours later, it was answered in such a beautiful way. It was amazing for me because I've been really working on my abundance mentality, particularly around money. I've been really intentional on working that and rescripting things. So this piece of magic went a long distance in the speed at which it was answered and the way at which that intention was answered. So that is my magic. I'm super grateful to my mom for sharing her abundance and for, showering that on Maya and I. And we had an awesome dinner. The three of us had a really wonderful outing. We went to the pool. I got to sit back and watch my mom and Maya just play in the water, which my mom really loved and Maya loved. And then I got to experience a really great dinner and a fun conversation as we're talking about traveling out of the country. It's Monday as I record this, and on Wednesday, we're flying to London, and then we're flying to Slovenia for my sister's wedding. So I got to talk about that with my mom. So magic all over the place. I experienced so much magic that I could do a whole episode, a whole podcast series just about magic, but I will wrap that up there. So now is your time to pause the episode and reflect on magic that you have created in your life. Think about how you've influenced self, others, or life in an empowering way. Big or small, it all matters. Now is your time to realize how powerful and magical you are. So go ahead and do that. And then we will flow on over to listener love, because I got so much love and gratitude for you listening right now. I am so grateful for it. I will, never overlook how special that is and how wonderful that is that you choose to invest your time and your energy and your attention into these conversations. It is, again, a huge deposit into my tank. And so today's listener love goes out to Olivia, who's a current listener, and Justin, who's going to be a future listener. And so Sarah and I actually interviewed Olivia about 2 hours ago. We interviewed her on our other podcast, the Doing It at Home podcast, because Olivia is currently pregnant and she's a birth doula and she does all this really awesome work in the birth world. So we had a conversation with her talking about her work and talking about the pregnancy and all that great stuff. And she informed us that she had been listening to Having It All, which is super cool. So I wanted to give you that shout out, Olivia, and you said that you were going to be sharing Having It All with your husband, Justin, because you thought he might dig the show. So Justin, if you're listening, man, what's up? And so thank you both for tuning into the show. I recommend everybody listening right now, if you're interested in the birth world and pregnancy and birth topics and having a holistic approach to pregnancy and birth, then go check out Olivia. Her Instagram is at Healthy Balanced Birth, and she's got the Instagram handle and the website at Healthy Balanced Birth. And you can also listen to that conversation that we have with Olivia on the Doing It at Home podcast, which will probably come out in about 2 weeks. So Olivia, I appreciate you. Justin, I appreciate you. And for you listening right now, who's not named Olivia and Justin, I appreciate you as well. And if you wanted to connect with me and just vibe, share your feedback, whatever, request an episode, topic, something like that, you can do so in a number of ways. You can connect with me on Instagram. I'm at Matthew_Bivens on Instagram. You can connect with me on my email. My personal email is mattcbivens@gmail.com. And yes, that is my personal email address. And I'm sure as a result of putting it out on this show, some of the spam stuff I've gotten has been, a result of that. But it's cool because I really do love the connection. And that's what this is about. The show wouldn't be the same if it was just me talking behind the mic and we never got a chance to go back and forth. So I love connecting. Hit me up, connect with me. All right, let's talk about your authentic, most powerful expression of you. Because in my opinion, and it's going to be backed up by things that I read and talk about, you living your most authentic life, you being fully expressed in your life, is part of your purpose. It's part of the reason why you're here on this earth. And so for me, it is incredibly important that I work on being my most expressed self, that I am being my most authentic self. And the reason why I put the word work is because it can feel like work because of so much of scripting, so many beliefs that we pick up along the way, fears, shame, judgment, all that stuff can keep us stifled, can keep us quieting our voices, can keep us playing small. And I've experienced that. And so I truly, truly believe that part of the reason you and I are here is to be that fully expressed version of ourselves. And so I want to kick it off by reading a few excerpts from this awesome book I've been reading. It's called You Are a Badass at Making Money. And it's from Jen Sincero. And she is a pretty awesome, badass woman. She has a very cool story of just going from, living in, I think she was living in a garage when she was in her 40s, and just having a very scarce mindset, very lack mindset, feeling very limited, feeling like a victim in a lot of different ways, to really transforming herself from the inside out. And now she writes New York Times best-selling books about being a badass in life, being a badass with your money, and that huge jump, that transformation, I find so incredibly inspiring because it's not easy. Like, it is not easy to really dig in and do some serious work on yourself, to transform your beliefs, to transform your relationships, to transform your habits. That is some badass type of stuff. And so Jen Sincero is somebody who's undergone that work in herself, and she put out this book, You Are a Badass at Making Money. And so there's 5 different paragraphs I want to read for you today, because as I've been reading this book, it's just, there's like alignment and synergies and things pop off all over the place. So I'm going to read a passage, and I'm going to talk about it, so on and so forth. So the very first one I want to read, Jen writes, "As a member of the human species, you are part of nature, and everything else in nature is provided with all it needs to carry out its desire to thrive and flourish. So why wouldn't you be? Nature is a fine-tuned, well-thought-out machine that is all about the fullest expression and perpetuation of life. Mother Nature gets an A+ in systems management and resource replenishment. She's got it down. It's when mankind gets freaky and scared and greedy that nature is thrown out of balance." Now, the part of that passage that stuck out to me is that you are a part of nature. You and I are parts of nature. And that nature is all about the fullest expression and perpetuation of life. And we see that all over the place. I'm looking out my window right now, and there's an oak tree in front of my house. Now, I don't even know maybe I should have looked this up, the seed or the acorn or whatever that sprouts the oak tree, if you were to dig into the coding on that seed, it was coded to be a fully expressed, tall, mighty oak tree. That was its purpose. And what I'm looking at out my window is the realization of that purpose. And that's what nature does. And every single thing in nature, it is coded to become its fullest expression. And guess what? You and I are part of nature. So you and I are meant to become our fullest, most authentic expression of ourselves. And it's a unique expression because no 2 trees are alike. You take 2 apple trees, put them side by side, they could be producing the same type of apples, but you know what? Those trees are going to be different. The branches are going to grow slightly different ways. There's going to be a little bit more leaves on one tree than the other, right? So even the fullest expression, there's uniqueness in that. And I love this passage from her book because it connects you and I to nature. And part of nature is to be fully expressed. I love it. Love it, love it. So next one I want to read. She says, "All of nature is forever moving, growing, changing, reproducing, evolving. It's all the rage. Even the damn universe itself is expanding. Likewise, you are not meant to just survive, to stay stagnant, to settle. You are meant to keep growing and thrive. Just like the tree that sucks up nutrients, water, and sun, grows to its tallest, mightiest height, and drops stuff all over our yards that will then spawn the next generation of trees. And the frog that miraculously grows from egg to tadpole to adult. You too are meant to reach your fullest expression of the you that is you, to inspire and birth awesomeness in others, and to use whatever resources you need along the way." Guys and girls, connect with that. You are meant to reach your fullest expression. You're not meant to just survive through life. That's not what you're meant for. You're not meant to just plateau or stay stagnant. You're not meant to settle. You're not meant to settle in the job, settle in the relationships, settle in your health. That's not what you're meant for. You're meant to thrive. You're meant to be fully expressed. And I'm telling you, when I was reading this, you should see my book. It's just covered in highlights because I'm like, yes, 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 yes. You are meant to have it all. You see the connection. You see why this got to me. I'm like, yes, we are all meant to have it all, to experience the abundance, to experience the love, to be fully expressed, to thrive. Could you imagine a world where every person was being that way, was expressing themselves in their life, in their creativity, in their passions, in their desires, in their generosity, in their care, and their love? Oh my gosh, that is the coolest freaking thing I can think of. A world where you just look around and everybody's just being their most badass self. Not simply surviving day to day. not stagnating and petering out. I love this stuff. So Jen continues to write. She says, we all have seeds of unthinkable badassery inside of us, yet only some of us will allow ourselves to grow. And that's the kicker. We all have the seeds. We all have the seeds that are encoded with fullest, mightiest expression, but only some will allow those seeds to grow. And the ways in which we do not allow them to grow is we stay comfortable. We reject healthy feedback. We stay in our comfort zone. We turn away from scary situations. We don't decide to place ourselves around people that might test us or push us or expand our beliefs. We stay closed-minded. When we don't feel like doing something, we don't do it. We don't hold commitments. We don't keep standards. We don't set boundaries. That is how you don't allow yourself to grow. And to me, part of the thing that I gotta worry, that I gotta focus on not taking personally, not getting frustrated with, is that you've got the seeds in you. Those seeds are in you to be your most fully expressed self. It's part of what's in you. And so when you settle, when you don't allow yourself to grow, what happens is the rest of us don't get to experience all of the fruit. We don't get to experience all of your gifts, all of your awesomeness. And our lives don't get to be enhanced because you're deciding to not grow. And so I love the way that Jen wrote it here. We all have seeds of unthinkable badassery inside of us. I love it. All right, I got 2 more passages. Humans are curious by nature. Our desire to keep evolving physically, mentally, and spiritually is part of who we are. Which is why settling, staying stuck in a rut, treading the lukewarm water of mediocrity, or worse, is so excruciating. That's why it sucks when you settle. That's why feels so awful when you take the job that is paying you way less than what you're worth. When you take the job that is just comfortable and doesn't have to push you. That's why it sucks when you're with the person that doesn't treat you the way that you know you deserve to be treated. That's why it sucks when you just settle for your life. It's so excruciating because your very nature is to grow, is to expand, is to evolve, is to express. So when you settle, you go against your nature. That's why it's so excruciating. It's not just because the work is boring. It's not just because the relationship is unfulfilling. Yeah, those things do suck. And I would be bored as hell if I was sitting at a job for 10 hours a day that I didn't get some sort of fulfillment out of. But on a deeper level, the reason why it's excruciating is because it's going against your very nature. It's the wolf that's in the cage. That wolf is meant to run. It's meant to jump. It's meant to explore. It goes against its nature to cage it up. You know, it breaks my heart when I see some animals in aquariums. I'm like, man, this whale has the entire ocean to explore, and we're going to put it in a tank because of our own desire to look at it and take selfies with it. Sorry, that's a separate soapbox. But the idea you get, it's your nature to grow and expand and thrive and push yourself and bump your head and fall down and stand back up. It's part of what makes you human. So anything other than that, it's going to feel crappy. You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to feel anxious. It might feel excruciating because it's going against your nature. All right, and the last passage I'll read, you can tell there's a theme to all these. The last one is short. Jen writes, all of Mother Nature's creatures are designed to fully flourish before they drop dead. That's what all of Mother Nature's creatures are designed to do. This oak tree is meant to grow as tall as it possibly can, to spread its leaves and branches so wide to reach. And then, okay, it's complete. It's time to transition. I did an episode a while ago about the 5 regrets of the dying. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. A woman named Bronnie Ware worked in hospice for many, many years, taking care of people who were very sick, who were at the end stages of their life. And after hundreds, if not thousands of conversations with them, she was able to see patterns that a lot of people who had big regrets on their life, they regretted the same things. And it was broken down to 5 of those things. And one of the biggest regrets was not living a life that was true to themselves. Not living a truly authentic, fully expressed life. People, this is how serious this stuff is. I'm telling you. That's who you're meant to be. And so if you don't want to be one of those folks who on their deathbed has a regret that at that point it's too late. You can't do anything about that. You cannot do anything about it when you're literally on the verge of transition. And it's like, man, I got a couple of regrets. And one of them is I just didn't allow myself to grow. I didn't allow my seed to really reach that height because I was scared, because I didn't know how, because I allowed somebody else's voice to get in my mind and I just did what they expected of me. I wouldn't wish that type of thing on anybody, that feeling of that regret. And so this is why I was so inspired by Jen's book, because I'm like, yes, and the big connection point for me was that everything in nature is designed for its fullest expression. And you are nature. Therefore, you are designed to fully express yourself. That's what you're designed to do. And listen, I get it. I've been there in that space where life is frustrating and you feel the discontent and you just the job just you dread going there, and the relationship is flat and it's colorless and you're just like, this isn't doing anything for me, and just life in general just has that bland taste and feel to it. I've been there. I know what that is like. I know what that is like so deeply. And I also know what it's like to be on a path of full expression, to be an authentic version of me. I know what that's like because I've been committed to that for the past several years, fully committed to that, bumping my head up against all those old beliefs and all that old programming that wants to keep me small, wants to keep me stagnant, wants to keep me afraid. So I know what that all feels like. But I'm going to hammer it home again for the 10th time. You are meant to thrive. You are meant to be fully expressed. You are meant to be your most authentic self. Those things that you desire are meant to flourish in your life. They're meant to be manifested. All of that stuff is meant to be. And it's going to feel terrible if you put blocks in your path to experiencing that. It just is. And we can get into denial. We can get into rationalization. Oh, no, it's smart for me to play small. Yeah, no, because of this, that, and the other. We can defend. No, I'm supposed to be in this relationship with that person. Yeah. Maybe they'll change. Maybe the relationship will change. I hope. I don't know how, but maybe it'll just change and get better. And then at that point, it'll be I can be a more expressed person. Yeah, sometime in the future. That's what we do. Because the alternative is scary, and I get it. I understand the scared parts. I get it. But just know, you don't ever have to question from this point on, you don't ever have to question why it feels so excruciating. Because the reason it does is because it's in your DNA to be fully expressed. Anything less than that, you're going to feel it. That's just what it is. It's not personal to you. That's just part of life. Anything less than you being like, I'm going for my fullest expression. I may not ever reach it, but I'm going for it. I might have these fears and this stuff with me my entire life, and that's okay. But I'm going to go for it. I'm going to play for really expressing myself, saying what I mean, being the person that I want to be, taking those risks, standing up for myself. I'm going to go and I'm going to be that person. I can tell you, it's just such a beautiful Such a beautiful experience. It truly, truly is. So I really hope that at the end of this episode, you can connect with that you're just meant to be that mighty oak and grow as tall as you can possibly grow. And I know, like, what I'm playing for is one person to have an aha moment. The way that I've had these aha moments throughout my life. And they happen in all these interesting times when I'm least expected. Some message connects. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you feel it in your core. I'm playing for that one person to have that moment in this podcast episode. And if you feel inspired, go and check out Jen Sincero's book, because I'm just starting it and there's a lot of stuff. Again, like I said, I've highlighted so many things, and it's just all beautiful. Playing to have it all, abundant, loving life. And now I'm going to wrap up with saying this, that, this episode was all about you being your fullest expression. Duh. Said it 1,000 times. But here's the thing. You may not know what that actually means for yourself. You may not know. It's different for every single person. Every single person has a different definition, different aspects of what being your fullest expression means, what being your most authentic self means. And the way that you know if you're clear on that for yourself or not is I'm going to ask you a question. What does it mean for you to be your most authentic, fully expressed, and vibrant self? Pause. Do you have a clear answer on that? Or is your answer kind of a ramble? Like I would be happy and I would be doing the things I want to do and traveling the places I want to travel and being with the people I want to be with. If that's the type of answer that you have, or if you have no answer at all, then parts of this episode might not feel as comforting or as empowering as you want it to. Because it's great to know in your nature that part of you, who you're meant to be, is be fully expressed. But if you've never actually sat down and thought about what that means for you, then there's a gap. But guess what? In my coaching, the work that I do is I help you cover that gap. What I help you do is strip away all the things that you think you should be, help you get clear on who you really are and what being your most authentic and badass version of you really looks like. And then I guide you through the process of actually becoming that person. That is why people hire me as their coach. That's why people hire me to come speak. That's why people purchase the blueprint and other things. So I say this because I know this is a heavy, heavy topic, and I don't want to leave anybody without some sort of next step. So if you right now are in that space where you're desiring to get that clarity and to find and walk your path, then let's connect. Connect with me. My business email address is matthew@matthewbivens.com. Shoot me an email there. Or you can go on Instagram if you're more of that social media speed, Matthew_Bivens. Because I'm telling you, a world where you are being your most authentic version of yourself, or you're walking that path, you're walking your authentic path, everything in your world shifts. The people around you are impacted. That's truly what having it all is. Life smells different. Food tastes different. Relationships are deeper. Everything is impacted by that. And for me, I am so committed to you living your most abundant, loving life. And I'll hold a space for you for that. And myself. I will hold that space until the day that I transition onto other adventures. It's that important. So, I'm complete. I really appreciate you hanging out with me on this episode. Reach out if you want to share what came up for you during this episode. Reach out for all the reasons I listed out before. And I'm just grateful that you're here. I'm grateful for your time. I'm grateful for your ear. My name is Matthew Bivens. Here is to you having it all. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal, physical, or mental health.